With all the crazy news from Insomniac Games and the big data breach and the hack and the Wolverine dropped gameplay that leaked everywhere, let's not forget, there is another superhero out there that we are patiently waiting to see what the future holds. Spider-Man, set in stone. We already know. I mean, it's going to be a long good time with Spider-Man games. We also know there's a Black Panther game on the way, possibly an Iron Man game, and a Blade game, and of course our Adamantium friend. But what about Batman? The DC Universe has been getting a lot of updates recently because of James Gunn's full reboot getting closer and closer. Aquaman 2, it's out, it's hitting movie theaters, and it is time for a full system reset from the mind of James Gunn. But it's not going to be limited to movies. Warner Brothers has made it clear they want to expand more into the world of gaming, and James Gunn's vision is going to play a big part in that, because Gunn himself recently made statements that seem to suggest the Arkhamverse is going to play a major role in the DC video games going forward. That's right, we have him on our side. That was not the news I was expecting to hear leading up to the launch of Suicide Squad, which is a game I think everybody already knows is going to fail spectacularly. Now, just a little preemptive warning here, I'm going to be spoiling a few aspects of the upcoming Suicide Squad game because a ton of stuff leaked over the last week, and since that game is set in the Arkham universe, I can't avoid it. So if you don't want Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League spoiled, you probably need to click off this video. But if you're okay with that, let's get into it, because we have a lot to talk about, and the future of the Arkhamverse actually looks bright, and so does Batman. Let me know your thoughts on the state and the future of Arkhamverse. Drop a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And now, for any faults he has, James Gunn has been extremely communicative about what he's working on for the upcoming DCU reboot. While it's not always what people want to hear, at least he's being upfront with what's going on. This means he's constantly being asked on social media about casting updates or timeline changes, and he was recently asked about the Arkhamverse. Now, the Arkhamverse does exist outside the gaming world thanks to a handful of comics and animated movies that set it into a continuity, but generally speaking, it's not an important timeline in the grand scheme of DC Comics. So it's actually pretty surprising when James himself flat out said the other day he's planning on keeping the Arkhamverse rolling after Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And I have a really good idea why he said that. Before we move on, if you guys get anything on a restock for G Fuel, make sure you use code CHAOS, whether you're getting tubs, shakers, whatever it may be, hydration, it doesn't matter. Use code CHAOS for up to 30% off. If you end up using it, make sure to send me a picture on Twitter so I can show you some love as well. Now, a user publicly wrote to James Gunn. Oh, before we go on, I think the reason he talked about it was because he knows what's going to happen to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and he knows the superhero that can save the day is Batman. Okay. A user publicly wrote to James Gunn and said, "Hey James, will Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League be the final game for the Arkham universe?" To which Gunn responded, "No plans of it being the last." Another user asked a more direct question in regards to continuity and said, "James, is it possible for more Arkhamverse games, or do you want the priorities to shift to the DCU games first?" Lots of people were worried about it after Suicide Squad. Gunn responded, "No way. I personally can't wait for the game and hopefully more. I'm a fan." So in one response, he made it sound like there is more Arkhamverse content in the works, but in the other, he sounded more hopeful than positive, which I think is interesting. The main takeaway here is that James Gunn is aware of the Arkhamverse and wants to keep it going after Suicide Squad, which is very, very good news because the Arkham community is not excited for this game, especially after the most recent round of leaks. Now, with the release date for Suicide Squad getting closer, more and more stuff has been getting out on the internet. Let's just say people, they're not very excited. The gaming community at large was pretty furious that Warner Brothers was turning the Arkham series into a full-price live service game, and the backlash resulted in the publisher having to delay a project a full year and try to fix it. Now, it's likely that most of the live service elements of the game are going to be adjusted by the time the game drops, but as for the design choices, things like characters, dialogue, and story, it's probably going to be the same. As they were when the project was revealed. And that's a lot of what the community's frustration is being targeted at. A bunch of leaks recently started making their way around the gaming leak subreddits. They showed off things like character designs, cutscenes, dialogue, an in-depth look at Poison Ivy. Now, Poison Ivy's a fan favorite character, and the version that was in the Batman Arkham games was great. When it comes to the best versions of Ivy, a lot of fans still point to the Arkhamverse version as their favorite. That being said, the version of Ivy that shows up in Suicide Squad, it's different. It's pretty strange because this is supposed to be the same universe as the Arkham trilogy. But the Poison Ivy and Suicide Squad is completely different and probably not in a good way. Instead of being this smooth, confident seductress we all know and love, she's this weird, demonic, elf-like creature that seemingly speaks in clicks and whistles. I'm not joking. Maybe it's supposed to be some alternate version of Ivy. I guess it makes sense since the proper Poison Ivy died in the Arkham Knight game, right? Spoiler alert. But it's not a way to win over fans that are already skeptical. In addition to Ivy, people are upset about the plot leaks, one of which is the fact that the Arkhamverse Batman that we all know and love seemingly gets killed off in this game in the most unceremonious way imaginable. Arkhamverse Batman is a great version of the character. He had an amazing send-off at the end of Arkham Knight, so bringing him back was already a bit of a tall order, but if these leaks are to be believed, he's going to get killed by Harley Quinn while mind-controlled and doesn't even put up a fight? Surely not, right? I don't know. Now, without getting into too many additional plot leaks, I have to say this. The plot of the game is incredibly mean-spirited. I think that's the main thing that people are taking issue with. I get what the title is, Kill the Justice League, but I think we were all expecting some kind of multiverse situation or maybe some kind of clone explanation. We weren't expecting to actually kill the Arkhamverse versions of the Justice League, or maybe we were, I don't know. The Arkhamverse is an almost universally loved version of the DC Universe, and Rocksteady hasn't made a game in the franchise for almost a decade. But according to the leaks, Rocksteady's big return is going to feature basically all of your favorite Justice League characters getting violently killed off while mind-controlled. And that also means Kevin Conroy's final performance as Batman is this. I'm sorry. That's insulting to the man's legacy. You could say I'm being too sensitive about fictional characters here, but the point I'm trying to get is this is not how you win people back after a ridiculously controversial buildup. The Arkhamverse has been dormant for 10 years, and the Arkham Trilogy are 3 of the most beloved superhero games ever made. This isn't how you follow it up. A mean-spirited third-person shooter where all the characters that we're invested in get killed off basically as a joke? That's what you waited a decade for. So how do you fix it? Where do we go from here? Suicide Squad is basically dead in the water, not only because there's zero hype for it, but also because once word gets out the story basically slaps all Arkham fans right in the face, nobody's going to buy it. But let James Gunn seem insistent that the Arkhamverse isn't dead, and he was very clear he wants to make more games. Now, ultimately, Warner Brothers calls the shots, because even if James wants a new Arkham game, WB is the one paying the bills. Now, personally, I'm of the opinion that the easiest way to get the Arkhamverse back on track is by remaking Arkham Asylum or maybe doing some kind of big Arkham Trilogy remake. We're living in the era of remakes, remasters. Since Arkham Asylum is going to be 15 years old, it's a good time for the remake treatment, especially if James Gunn and WB are trying to win fans back after they piss them off. Now, I'm amazed that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League ended up the way it is. Rocksteady's an incredibly talented team, and they created one of the most beloved video game franchises of all time. The fact that the long-awaited return is already shaping up to be this big of a failure, it's insane to me. It really is. I just wonder why. Warner Brothers seems like the kind of company to order a live service game with lots of edgy superhero death scenes and whatnot, but Rocksteady doesn't really seem like the kind of studio that would sign off on that unless they had to. They've had an uphill battle already, winning back fans, and if they want to get everyone on their good side, they need to announce an Arkham remake immediately. They need to sweep Suicide Squad under the rug as soon as possible and make it clear they still know what they're doing and they're still dedicated to providing awesome single-player experiences in the universe. I think most of us are willing to accept that Warner Brothers forced them to make the Suicide Squad game that they probably weren't interested in. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of people are going to be mad. They are. It is. So, Rocksteady, James Gunn, Warner Brothers, they all need to come together, figure out something, because if they don't announce something really hype soon, it may end up killing the Arkhamverse before they actually have a chance to properly revive it. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll see you soon.